What's up YouTube, Javi here at Javi's Boom Tech, and today we're back with a JBL Charge 3, and this time we're pairing it up against last year's model, the JBL Charge 2 Plus. You're not going to want to miss this, so let's get started. Alright guys, so here we have the JBL Charge 3 on my right, and on my left hand side I have the JBL Charge 2 Plus. I want to go ahead and give out a shout out to Brianna for letting me borrow her JBL Charge 2 Plus to do this comparison. Brianna, thank you, and I swear I've only dropped it twice. No, just kidding. But anyway guys, here it is, the two JBLs, last year's model and this year's model. Size-wise, you can probably already see that the Charge 3 is definitely a little bit larger. Girth-wise, especially in the center there, it gets much wider than the Charge 2 Plus. Turning it around, even the passive radiators have gotten larger on the Charge 3. And of course, we have complete waterproofing on the Charge 3, where on the Charge 2 Plus, we still have only water resistance, mainly because those ports aren't covered, whereas on the Charge 3, they are under that cover right there. Then we've got the material, different material. The Charge 3 definitely looks a lot like a mini Extreme, where the Charge 2 Plus, not really. It's got those metal grills on the front and then on the back. Look-wise, both speakers are pretty nice looking, but I definitely prefer the look of the Charge 3 over the Charge 2 Plus. It's got more of a sophisticated, more premium look, at least in my opinion. However, the Charge 2 Plus is still a pretty decent looking speaker, especially with those nice passive radiators on both sides. And then up on top, we've got the controls on both devices. Pretty much the same, except for the battery indicator is on top on the Charge 2 Plus, whereas on the Charge 3, it's down on the bottom. And then another difference is, of course, JBL Connect right there on the Charge 3. And that is missing on the Charge 2 Plus. Instead, we got this party mode, which allows up to 3 phones or devices to be connected to the speaker at one time to kind of do like a DJ mode of sorts. A feature that is not found on the Charge 3 as far as I can tell. Other than that, the other big difference is definitely sound. I've had a chance to play around with both speakers and play different music, and there's definitely a difference. But before I say anything else, I want to go ahead and do a few sound tests with you guys. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple indoor, and then we'll take it outdoors. Even though it is a little bit dark out there, we'll see what we can do with the light to get a sound test outdoors. But anyway guys, without further ado, let's get this sound test started.
Baby girl, you're so damn fine, though. Wanna know if I can hit it from behind, though. I'm sipping on you like some fine wine, though. When it's over, I press rewind, though. Talking bands, I got it. Benjamins in my pocket. I traded my truth for some robbers, and he's playing Batman. Freddy's gonna rob him. Yeah, I got the Glock in my robbery. 17 shots, no 38. Yeah, I got the Glock in my robbery. 17 shots, no 30. Yeah, she's fine. Wondering where she be mine. Walk past, I press rewind. See that ass one more time. And I got this soda. Remy boys that know. Fast money, no shoulder. No one can control. Yeah, and I got this soda. Remy boys that know. Fast money, no shoulder. No one can control. She's got class and style, street knowledge by the pound, yeah. Baby never act wild, very low key on the profile. Catching feelings isn't all. Let me show you how it goes. Loves the world, spins the bird. Lovers that could freak what you want. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I'm about to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I'm about to bag it up. I like the way you work it, no, I'm about to bag it up.
Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're fading, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes. This day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? House scars are impressions of everything that it is. I tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives use it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Alright guys, so there you have it. The sound comparison between the JBL Charge 2 Plus and the newly released JBL Charge 3. If you couldn't tell right off the bat, the JBL Charge 3 definitely a louder speaker. However, the Charge 2 Plus still holds its own, especially at the lower volumes. The Charge 2 Plus gets higher quicker than the JBL Charge 3. That has several more notches before it gets to those higher upper volumes. That being said, sound-wise, they're really different. I didn't realize how different they were until I actually paired them up against each other. The Charge 2 Plus definitely has a boomier, more bassy sound. So I understand why people are saying that the Charge 3 doesn't have as much bass as the Charge 2 Plus. It's not that the Charge 2 Plus has more bass, it's just boosted. Whereas the JBL Charge 3 is a much more flatter response than the Charge 2 Plus, which makes it sound, to me at least, a lot more punchier and a lot cleaner. I prefer the sound of the Charge 3, but I can see where people are upset that the Charge 2 Plus seems to have more bass. The good news is that it can be easily remedied if you're a big fan of the Charge 2 Plus and that big boomy bassy sound. You can get the same sound, perhaps even better, on the Charge 3 by just simply downloading an EQ app. If you have an iPhone, if you go into the EQ settings and choose electronic, it really boosts it up and sounds even better than the Charge 2 Plus in its boosted mode. However, if you're like me and you like a flatter response, you're really gonna prefer the Charge 3. As you do increase in volume, I noticed that the Charge 2 Plus still has that compression, so at max volume it really doesn't sound that great. It's just really struggling, especially with more complicated tracks. It's just kind of all over the place. The Charge 3 on the other hand gets quite a bit louder, and it still does a pretty good job of handling those tracks even at max volume. You do lose some of the bass, however it still sounds better, and like I said, if you have an EQ app, you can easily adjust that so it's not as noticeable of a bass drop when you do go up to those higher volumes. Overall guys, I still think both speakers are really good speakers. However, I definitely prefer the Charge 3, at least for my taste. Just that nice, flat, clean, punchy response in the low end is my preference. But if you are a bass head and you like that boosted, boomy bass, you're probably gonna prefer the JBL Charge 2 Plus, which might be good for you since now that the Charge 3 is out, the prices on the Charge 2 and 2 Plus are gonna dramatically fall. In fact, they've already started to fall. I think you can get them brand new for $100 on Amazon. So it works out for everybody in the end. So it really depends on what your preference is. Like I said, for me, I prefer the flatter response of the Charge 3, and I love that it has JBL Connect, because now I can connect it to another Charge 3 or pretty much any JBL speaker with JBL Connect. But that being said guys, that's gonna do it for me tonight. Be sure to come back and check out the next episode where I will have a second Charge 3 in the house, and we're gonna pair them up in both party mode and stereo mode and get a good feel for what 2 sound like and how it enhances the overall sound stage from just one Charge 3. Trust me, you're not gonna wanna miss it. All right guys, that's gonna do it for me tonight. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you next time. Thanks, bye.